All right, it's a Monday here on the Audible presented by UHealth. Kim Bokamper, John Congemi with you. Dolphins coming off a 16-10 win over the Tennessee Titans in a game, John, that really you look back at it, probably shouldn't have been that close. If Dolphins could get some things going, but boy, defensively they stepped up and did the job. Now, before we get to the game and talk about that, certainly everyone's heard about the incident with the Miami Dolphins and their offensive line coach. He has resigned his post with the Dolphins. The Dolphins gets ready to add a new coach to the staff. I'm sure they'll get done with that. But look, this is something that's going to stay in house. That's the way it is. It's going to stay that way. So we're just going to get past that and move on. And John, it's just kind of another step in what has really been a bizarre start to the season for this football team. And just when you think you're past everything, you kind of get tripped up by something else, and this will be another test for this football team to get on, move past it, and get themselves prepared for a very, very good Atlanta Falcon team in Atlanta this weekend on the road again. So, hey, you know what it is? It's like Coach Gay said, all you can do is do what's ahead of you. You can't look behind and got to keep moving forward.
And I think that's what this football team will do. If this team wasn't as resilient as they've shown over the past month after getting moved due to the hurricane, going out to L.A. for a week and then going to New York and then going back to London, then coming back finally in October for their first home game at Hard Rock Stadium. So it's one of those things where I think this team will adjust. The offensive line will find a way to rally around this and focus on what they need to do because that's their job at risk. They're going to come out and try to play a complete game against the Atlanta Falcons, probably the best team on this calendar the Miami Dolphins will face.
And, John, you look at it, and obviously when you take a look at yesterday's game, the shining star was the defense. You knew that, especially with Mariota out of the game, that they were going to come and try to pound the football with those two big backs that they had, and they tried it. But this defense held up, and they held up against the pass. I thought it was maybe one of the most complete defensive efforts that we've seen in the last couple of years from this group. And I think there's a lot of things that go along with it. I think you have the linebacking core that you like to have in there. I think bringing Malaluga in really gives them a big physical presence in the middle. You know, 2 weeks ago you got Lawrence Timmons back. He gives you another physical linebacker to go with that front four up there that are playing extremely well. William Hayes is playing great. Andre Branch is playing well. We saw Charles Harris come up with his first sack. He's getting better and better. So if there's a team that right now that can stand up and challenge a very potent Atlanta Falcons offense, you got to feel pretty good about the way this defense is going right now. I'd add to that, Cordray Tankersley for his second straight game got the chance to go out there and play. Got targeted a number of times, but I tell you, he challenges the football. He's a physical cornerback. He's a guy. He's got long arms. He's got good reach, and I really think that we're going to see this guy throughout the rest of the season and have a guy coming back next year, much like Xavier coming back this year, where I think you're going to have two very good, very young cornerbacks, third year Xavier, second year for Tankersley, that are probably going to be standing out there for some time on this football team. And the more Tank plays this year, the better he's going to be next year.
Well, first, to your point about the defense, I haven't seen a defense fly around to the football like this team is doing on that side of the ball. You look at Cam Wake and Andre Branch, and Ndamukong Suh's been so dominant down the middle. And the linebacking core, you said it best, it's probably where they wanted it to be to start the season now in week 4 or 5, going into their 5th football game, trying to get to 3-2. Timmons was flying around the football. Alonzo was flying around the football. Malaluga was blowing up the guards, allowing other people to make plays. And everybody fed off of each other's play. And I really like the way Rashad Jones played out of the secondary. I thought he came down and made his physical presence known. So to all your points on the defensive side, that was a very good football team coming into Hard Rock, trying to run the football with their backup quarterback. And the Miami Dolphins found a way to win by punting the football and flipping the field and playing tough defense for 60 minutes.
You know what I like, John, early on is they did complete passes. We've been beat up a little bit by the screen passes, by the little short passes where the running back or the receiver has too much space and they're able to pick up yards. But man, when they were catching balls, they were getting hit. Hit. It was a simultaneous catch hit.
The distance is closed
up
from the secondary and the linebackers, and I think that's the greatest feat that you're looking for as a coach, a measuring stick, from week 1 to where there was so much room to run in the Miami Dolphins secondary to where they are now going into week 5.
Yeah. The other thing, John, and I think to me, really the unsung hero in this football game was a punter, Matt Hawk. And you look at what he did. You know, in the first half, he had a ball down at the 6-yard line. You look at Tennessee; they tie the game up in their first series in the second half, 10-10 at that point. From that point, he had 4 punts. He pinned him at the 9-yard line, the 6-yard line, and the 15-yard line, and 3 of those 4 punts. And if you're a punter, you know that's pressure time for you. And you put those numbers down, pretty impressive performance. Big hang time for him, putting it down there in situations where they've got to go extra long down the field. And I tell you, invaluable to a defense to have those kind of situations in crunch time when a guy pins the other team down there.
Well, Bo, he had to because he was returning serve from the Tennessee punting unit. The Dolphins started on the -7, the -3. They got one at the 42, but then they went right back to the -13. So you had to have a guy to match a punt with a punt of his own, and he did that throughout the entire football game.
Yeah, so it was nice to see, and nice to see him continuing to do, because he's really been getting some good hang. He had one bad punt a couple games ago, and it seems like that stuck with him ever since then.
He's been booming
the ball pretty good. All right, let's get to what I called yesterday the elephant in the room yesterday after the game, just the offense and their lack of productivity, and the fact that they just seem disjointed. And you know, it's not always one thing. It's you know, sometimes it's this guy, sometimes it's that guy. You know, I think Jay Cutler has to take some you know, and look, yesterday after the game he said, look, I played piss poor. I've got to play better. There's things I've got to do better. So he's not shying away from what everybody sees out there. And he talked about the Boo Birds and everyone calling for Matt Moore. And I think he stood up to it. But, you know, you can stand up to it after the game. What we need is for Jay Cutler to be the Jay Cutler that gets the ball downfield during the game. And we're not talking after the game what happened. Talking about, hey, how'd you make that throw? And those types of things. Somehow they've got to transition from where we've been the last 3 weeks to that kind of an offense, and we've got to do it next week. And, John, as a quarterback, when you look at it from a quarterback's eye, what do you see and what would you like to see moving forward?
Well, what I see is the offense, obviously, it's disjointed. There's no rhythm. There's no rhyme or reason where they're going with the play calls, with the execution. I think this Dolphin offense starts and always should start with the run. If you cannot run the football when you want to run it, you're not going to be very consistent on offense, because I don't want to see Jay Cutler drop back 45 times.
No.
I don't think that's a recipe to win consistently for this group, especially the way the defense is playing. You have to be able to rest the defense, and in order to do that, you need to stay on the field and make first downs. And that's Jay Ajayi, that's Damian Williams, and that's Kenyon Drake. Behind an offensive line that needs to execute a little bit better. And not only in pass protection, because Jay's getting moved out of there, but sometimes he's moving out of there on his own. You know, the best friend of a quarterback is not retreating deeper, because that makes it easier for the defensive ends to get that angle and get you down or cause a turnover, which we saw yesterday with a bad decision in a pass play. You want to step up into the pocket. In order to do that, you have to feel secure that part is anchored. You know, that center of your offensive line is giving you that opportunity to stand tall, hold your ground in the pocket, and make throws down the field. So what I'd like to see is more of the Kenny Stills comeback in the fourth quarter, the Jarvis Landry little bend in, about an 8-yard bend in or quick slant, but a little bit further down the field, and take advantage of man-to-man opportunities with the skill set that we have on the outside at the receiver. Obviously, you hope Devontae Parker is going to come back from an ankle, because he needs to be a factor in this offense. We were talking about how he was going to make a difference in the offseason. He hasn't been that difference maker. You know, in L.A. he played very well. Went up, got a 50-50 ball, made a circus catch. But the passing game overall hasn't been there. And I think it starts with the offensive line. It starts with Jay Cutler being better. But you have to be able to win those one-on-one matchups on the outside.
John, and we talked a little bit about that drive. They had 4 first downs in that drive that led to the touchdown and gave them the 16-10 lead at that point. And what I saw in that drive was what we see from other teams. Quick timing, short drop, get the ball out. Short drop, get the ball. Hit the slant. You know, hit the deep slant. You know, hit the comeback. Hit those. And you started to feel a rhythm in there. And so you know, maybe this team needs to look at that a little more and get into that little quick passing mode to get them on their heels, and then maybe, you know, you can take that 7-step drop, try to get the ball down the field, and maybe make that defensive line be a little more hesitant. But they've got to find some formula to get that done. And I'm with you, John. It all, to me, it all starts with the running game being positive. And still, even yesterday, there were too many times where you saw a guy get the ball and have to retreat because there's somebody that's pushed the line of scrimmage back, and he's got to bow around it some way. And he made some plays out of situations like that, but he shouldn't.
It's tough to make a living doing it that way. You want to be able to hit the line of scrimmage with a little bit of momentum, a little bit of downhill, speed, so you can get to the second level. That's where Jay made so many people miss and so many yards after first contact. When he was hitting the line with authority, the linebackers are arm tackling him. He's running right through it. Now he's on the safety. And if he makes somebody miss, he's in the end zone. That's where he got his chunk yardage plays on the ground last year. If you're not able to hit the line with any type of speed or authority, you're going to struggle in the running game. You're going to have to work so hard for a 3-yard gain. And then the worst thing about it, we have no play action threat. There's no play action threat.
If you can't run, there's none.
You can't run. You might as well just catch it and try to throw it down the field.
Yeah, to me, offense is a progression. It's run the ball. It's if you can run the ball, that adds play action. If you bring play action into it, then you've got the over-top opportunity.
Right.
So, but you've got to have that progression. You've got to have, if any one of those things is, well, if the over-the-top's not working, you can survive with the other two. But if those other two aren't working, you're never going to get the ball downfield.
Well, there's a couple ways of looking at it too, Bo. You can start with the pass and get people off the line of scrimmage so to make it easier to run, or you can go the opposite way. You can try to run the football, crowd the line of scrimmage, and then take advantage of your outside opportunities. But you can't play, I think, and I believe this, where the Miami Dolphins are playing right now. They're in between. They're a little screen. It's a hitch. It's a drag that when you need 6, you're running a 4-yard drag, and you're not getting past the chains to catch it and fall down, and you've got a first down.
And look,
it's all those
that's
mistakes.
Awareness, too. Sometimes that's awareness.
Well, it's mental mistakes. Compounded by physical errors that the Miami Dolphins are making up front.
No doubt. And, Adam Gase was peppered with all the questions about the offense yesterday. And I think when push came to shove, he made the quote he said was, look, it's very simple. Guys have to make plays. You've got to make plays. And offensively, yesterday defensively made a lot of big plays out there. Rashad Jones, very heads up by Rashad Jones. A lot of guys.
He's the only guy playing.
A lot of guys standing there with the ball laying on the ground. He picks it up and takes it in for the touchdown. That's a big play. You had 6 sacks. Those were big plays. You had another fumble takeaway by Kiko Alonso.
Yeah, good strip by Godchow. Good strip by
Godchow. Yeah, he comes up with the ball. So you had a lot of good stuff, big plays going on defensively, but offensively they need to find a way to get some of those going there. So anyway, Dolphins are get to 2-2. You're
half game back
where you want to be. Half game back, and man, I tell you, look around. What's going on in the AFC?
It's crazy.
You got New England's lost twice at home already.
I know.
You got the Jets now at 3-2 after starting out 0-2 and looking like the worst team in the world.
And
you got the Bills up there at 4-1 or 3-1, whatever. I guess they're 4-1 now, right? Bills.
Well, Dolphins are only half game back, so they have 2 losses.
They're 3-2. The Bills are 3-2, right? Yes, they lost the other day. So so it's a crazy. But look, the good thing is the Dolphins are in there.
That's right.
They're where you want to be. You want to be in the hunt, and they're in the hunt. And
they have to go back. They have to play well on the road against Atlanta, but there's no way they can allow the Jets to come to Hard Rock Stadium and steal a football game.
Look, if they don't have a little revenge in their mind for that game, then we're in the wrong business, and they're in the wrong business, to be honest with you. Let's go ahead and take some questions here on the book here. Periscope from Black Man Game. At what point does Coach Gaves give Matt Moore a chance? Well, John, I think that I don't think now is the time. I think you give Jay Cutler this game. If he has a very similar game this game to what we've seen the last 2, then I think you got a decision to make the next week. I don't know if you start Jay, keep him on a short leash then, and if you see more of the same, then you bring Matt. But as much as Adam Gase is loyal to his quarterbacks, and that's been his MO since he's been at this level, then he's going to give this guy every chance to dig himself out of the slump that he's in right now. But at some point, in that point, John, I think is nearer now than it is further away. I think you've got to think about it if things don't change.
I agree with you, Bo. I don't know when that date is, what that game is, what the timing or the mechanism that says, hey, we need to make a change. Yeah. But I don't believe it's now, only because if you do it now, you can't go back. There's no going back.
No.
What's the difference if Jay Cutler's going to watch for 2 weeks and now all of a sudden he's going to be the Jay Cutler of a Pro Bowl year?
Yeah.
I just believe that you have to improve with an offense. You have to give him an opportunity to keep going out there to make plays, because we've seen some of the good things that he can do early in the season, but the bad things have to stop. At some point, Jay Cutler has to be able to set in the pocket, deliver the football on time, and feel like, you know what, you're going to take a hit in the chops, and it doesn't matter. And I'm going to bounce up and do it again. Because until that point happens, and until that timing in the pass offense is there, I think we're going to see a little bit of good and a lot more bad. So I just think that it's not now. I don't think the time is now to make a change at quarterback, but I do think now it's more of a time to – it needs to get right in a little bit shorter of a window than it was last week.
Black Man Gam, I think we may see him in Atlanta. I think he's either an L.A. guy that lives in Atlanta or an Atlanta guy that lives in L.A. I know he's somewhere along the line there. Periscope, UK FinFan 29. Hey, Bo, did you get to an English pub while you were in London?
Couple.
No, I would say I'm 0 for 4 when it comes to pubs.
Oh, yeah?
I stuck my head in one and looked in and saw it, but I haven't had a pint in a pub yet in London, so – I said when I went this time I was going to make sure I did, and lo and behold, I didn't do it. And part of it was my fault because on Friday night we went out to a team dinner with I couldn't resist. I was with Larry Zonka, Larry Little, Bob Greasy, Dan Marino, Nat Moore, Joe Rose, and I may have imbibed a little too much, so I didn't want to see anything that had alcohol in it the next day, so I avoided the pubs the next day. So anyway, but no, I didn't make it. Facebook, Billy. What are we doing to prepare for Atlanta? I think
it's early right now.
It's early right now. They're just players are coming in. I think they do a little bit of running.
I think it's more corrections on what they've seen yesterday, today, and prepare for Atlanta. On Wednesday.
The coaches
are already on it.
They're on it. They're putting a game plan together. The game plan will be in for Wednesday when guys come in. And really Wednesday begins the preparation for the next team. Today is more about let's get this game behind us. Let's get out, do a little running, and just get the blood flowing a little bit, and then kind of let the guys get back home and get off their feet for their day off. So, but I can guarantee you from a coaching standpoint,
they're on it.
They're on it, and they'll be
got
here.
A lot of issues.
They'll be here till late at night.
Matt Moore and that running game with Freeman and Julio Jones on the outside, and the defense. They got a lot of issues that they're going to have to correct.
Periscope from Celesca 80. Do you think the offense takes on the personality of the quarterback? No, I don't think so. I think the offense takes a personality of what they can get done and what they can't get done. And right now it's an offense. I don't think there's.
You know what, boss? Sometimes I felt like you could do that. I don't know. As a quarterback, sometimes I felt like I could get in the huddle or I could talk to somebody on the sidelines and kind of prod them in a way to.
If you're that guy. I don't know that Jay is that guy. I just don't know that Jay is that. I think Jay's a little bit everyone do your job kind of a thing. And I think there's, Danny, Dan Fouts, Aaron Rodgers. Those guys will get in the huddle and say, look, get your head out of your ass.
Yeah, this has got to change.
This has got to change. If not, look, I'm tired of having your guy sitting in my lap. Do your job.
Yeah, I think that you can, and it may be a little bit easier on defense because everybody's kind of has that attitude.
Got that edge,
But on offense, I think you have to have a leader to be able to steer the ship and get guys thinking with the mentality that this isn't good enough, and we got to change. And I think some of that has to come from within.
Yeah, it seemed like most of the time in my career in the defensive huddle, we spent a lot of time yelling at each other and pointing fingers.
Yeah, those were always good. You know what? It's great when you go into a huddle and there's all kind of chatter, and then if you're the quarterback, you're saying, "All right, everybody, shut up."
Yeah,
and everybody,
everyone does. Defense, no.
Defense,
everyone's still got a word to say. We used to. We played with. Mike Kozlowski was one of our safeties, one of the great athletes I played against, and really one of my closest friends on the team. And good guy, good player, but his name's Mike Kozlowski, but he was Samoan, right? And so the Samoan culture, everybody's your cousin. It seems like they're all someone knows someone's related to someone. So we'd be playing in a game, and every time there was a Samoan player, he'd pick him up off the ground. And we go, and Mike, don't
leave him on the ground.
Pick his own ass up. Leave him on the ground.
No, I'm related.
Oh, it's my cousin. We go, everyone's your cousin. Leave him on the ground. And so that created. That was about a 3-series fight right there. It kept going on. It's funny, but we'd get over to the sideline and no one would be talking about it. But you get back in the huddle and fire up again. Yeah, exactly. So
that's awesome.
King Edlin, how many wide receiver screens can you run in one game? I'm tired of them.
I think
those one-man screens,
Well, you can only block for how many seconds until Kenny Stills can't hold that block any longer.
Right.
So I think something's going to change.
To me, those screens. We used to run those screens. You would send an offensive lineman out there
coming from the inside,
kicking the guy out. In that way, at least if that guy gets in front, at least you've got the inside alley. But I think when you line up two guys there, you got two people there anyway.
It's tough.
It's tough. It's really tough. So yeah, I'm with you. I've had enough of them. I don't know that we'll see that. But okay, one more. McLovin. It was good to see the D line getting sacks and pressures yesterday. Absolutely it was. And I think they're just getting. The big thing to me, Charles Harris. Since Charles
did he come with authority and speed? 2
weeks ago, Charles was close. Getting there, I think he's starting to get more comfortable. I think he's starting to understand, leverage and the things that he has to do. So I think it's very nice to see that. And
I think he's paying heed to the advice he's getting from the other guys, those veterans up front.
Yeah, and obviously you know what you're going to get. Cam, Andre Branch had 2 sacks yesterday, 6 sacks altogether. So and look, they're going to need that kind of pressure this week
Sunday,
in Atlanta. If they're going to have any chance against Matt Ryan and that high-powered offense. Johnny, that's going to do it for today, man.
Hey, man.
Appreciate it. It's always a pleasure.
Absolutely.
We'll be back on Wednesday. Wednesday we'll probably be in studio, so it'll probably be about a 4:30. I'm looking for a little bit.
Leon, he's never listening. You know what's bad
about
this, Bo?
One time
we had a big lunch today.
So he's dozing a little bit.
Yeah,
he doubled up too. He ate twice as much as anyone else. Three times.
3 times.
4 times? He went back 4 times for lunch?
Did.
Leon, come on, man.
It was bad.
Have a little pride in yourself, At least stack your plate up twice as full so you don't have to go back 4 times.
Well, he's been in the bathroom for a half an hour. He missed the entire show.
Well, some of you can't carry that shit around all day. I know that, literally speaking. All right, that's going to do it for the Audible. Wednesday, 4 o'clock. We'll be back. Until then, have a good couple of days. We'll see you.